I had to say, I think this is one of my favorite costumes so far, because I haven't seen anybody else yet bring a puppet to go with them. Tell us, what made you decide I'm going to go as Scarface this time?
I like doing obscure cosplay. I really like villains that are obscure. One of my favorites is Bizarro, I do quite often. But when I wanted to do a Gotham one finally, I was like, I have to do somebody obscure. And I couldn't figure out how to pull off a Clayface, so I figured it was going to go with Arnold Wesker.
Very interesting nonetheless. So tell us, how long have you been in the cosplay industry and what got you into it?
I've been doing it for 5 years now. I'm one half of, my wife and I are a duo called JK Cosplay. And we fell in love with it going to our first con and just watching everybody and just going, I'd really like to be some of my favorite characters. So my very first one was Bizarro. I did the old school Super Friends Bizarro with the big line work down my face and everything. And I really enjoyed doing it, and everybody seemed to enjoy it. And there was this kid who came up to me afterwards and handed me a picture he drew of the Superman logo. And that kind of just made me go, all right, maybe I should do this again. And I haven't gone to a con without cosplaying for 5 years since.
Oh man, that's a really cool story, real touching. So, you've done cosplaying for a few years, so I can assume that you've done quite a couple of cosplays.
Yes.
Yeah, I know you've mentioned Bizarro and everything, but if you can, could you tell us what your favorite cosplay is and why exactly?
Oh, geez, besides Bizarro, because Bizarro's got to be one of my top, because I've done 2 or 3 different incarnations of him. I've done the New 52, the Super Friends one, I'm going to be building a Rebirth one soon. Right now, though, I really enjoyed, I was R.J. McCready from The Thing, from John Carpenter's The Thing at the last SinisterCon here, and up in Sacramento, and I didn't think anybody would recognize what character I was playing. And walking around, people were freaking out that I was from John Carpenter's The Thing. So that was, I like doing the obscure ones, but that was one I didn't think anybody would get, and thankfully, like, everybody got. So I had a lot of fun with that one.
They all sound like very interesting cosplays. Tell us, how long does it usually take you to get a cosplay ready for an event?
See, I don't get it ready specifically for an event. I have a list of cosplays I want to do, and then whenever I finish it, whatever is the closest con, that's the one I debut it at. So right now I'm working on a Old Man Logan, and I'm also working on the Rebirth Bizarro, along with my wife, who will be doing a Rebirth Killer Frost with my Bizarro, and for Old Man Logan, she'll be doing a Squirrel Girl. So we're working on those, and whenever they finish, that's the con we debut them, and then I've got Arnold still around, I've still got Bizarro around. I have one that I did, my wife and I did a mashup of hippies as Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh, wow.
So I was Franken Hippie. We like having fun with it, and so I just dust off those whenever I have an in-between con before I find whichever one I'm debuting the new thing at.
That's cool. That's a really interesting way to decide what cosplays you're going to go as. So tell us, do you have any advice for those out there who want to get into the cosplaying industry?
Yes, thrift stores. If you find a costume that you want to do, I mean, you can see the ventriloquist isn't very difficult. So you go to a thrift store and not spend top money. You don't have to. And you can buy fabric paint and you can do it all yourself. My wife did a Riddler as well, and she spent the time and built a stencil for the question mark and painted on her costume entirely. So you don't have to spend money in large amounts. You can find a way to do it yourself. There's so many YouTube videos out there of people that want to cosplay. There are so many TV stations and online sources that you can figure out how to do it and just go do it. I learned how to sew because of this guy. I learned how to do craft foam because my wife did The Huntress, so she wanted to learn how to do craft foam. I've done prop building for friends because they're like, hey, I love your cosplay. Can you build me a hammer for my Harley outfit? Sure, I can try. So it's, you can do it and get together. The more people you know that are doing it, the more that you guys can work together. Because if you don't know how to sew very well, but your friend does, but you know how to paint, but they don't, suddenly you guys can work together on costumes. So I definitely work in teams, work in groups, try and get as many people. It's more fun to share anyway, come on. So that's my advice.
You heard it first, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to get into the cosplay industry, you don't have to spend your money on expensive items. All it takes is imagination, creativity, and a little bit of help from your friends. Is there any social media links that you would want people to reach you at?
Yes, all of my social media links, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Xbox Live, all of them are Jaye of many hats, Jay of many hats. But I spell my name Jaye. So yeah, Jay of many hats, you can find me anywhere. Play games with me on Xbox Live, that'd be fun. So
you heard it first, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to give him a call if you ever want to hang out and play some Xbox.